Here we go. Ken Dunek, Mark Eckel talking Eagles football, the Bird Brains with Ken and Mark. Of course, Mark covered the team for many years at NJ.com and the Trenton Times. I played a little tight end for the Eagles and Philadelphia Stars back in the day. And Mark, you and I are from the same era, so I'm sure you remember the movie The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, right?
Oh, yeah. Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, that was Clint Eastwood, Eli Wallach, Lee Van Cleef. It was a great movie. Well, we're going to talk today.
Great soundtrack.
We're going to talk today about the good, the great, the indefensible, and possibly the most athletic play I've ever seen in all of sports. Now, keep in mind, I'm not one to blow my own horn, but I did play major college basketball at Memphis State, so I played against Darrell Griffith, and I played against Sidney Moncrief and Andrew Toney and Vinnie Johnson, some really good players. And in football, of course, I was on the Giants for 3 weeks. I got to scrimmage against Lawrence Taylor. I played against Reggie White in the USFL, so I played against some pretty good football players. I've never seen an athletic play like I saw yesterday, and we're going to get into all of that here in a second. Let me get rid of some bookkeeping issues. The Bird Brains with Ken and Mark is sponsored by Gateway Mortgage. Our good friend Chris Wilhelm, who is a big-time Eagles fan, can take care of you and all of your mortgage needs. All you got to do is call him at 856-810-1222. That's Chris Wilhelm at Gateway Mortgage, 856-810-1222. And, of course, we're recording this at the plush studios here at Sweet Recording in Mount Laurel. If you want to start a podcast, and who doesn't these days, contact Joe Gangemi at sweetrecording.com, and he can take care of you. And finally, it's the week, Mark, the party of the year, the JerseyMan, PhillyMan magazine big unmasking event on November 7th. We're going to honor 6 man and women of the year candidates, honor them for their success in business and philanthropical endeavors, and we're going to hand out a bunch of money to charity. Still time to get tickets. If you'd like to come to this event, we're expecting around 450 to 500 people showing up on Thursday from 6 to 10 at Ballroom at the Bend. Go to JerseyManMagazine.com and get your ticket information and join us for what's going to be a really special night. So, Mark, you did your research this morning. You live in Myrtle Beach, so you couldn't get the game live, but you watched it this morning in its entirety. Give me some initial thoughts on what you thought you saw out there yesterday.
It should have been. It shouldn't have come down to Nakobe Dean having to pick off Trevor Lawrence in the end zone with a minute 40 to go. This should have been an easy Eagle win. Well, you were texting me during the game,
right?
And you're like, "I can't believe what happened." And I'm seeing the scores. I'm seeing the scores, and I'm thinking, "This isn't adding up right. What happened here?" And then I said, "What's going on?" And you're like, He's taking points off the board. He's leaving points. So now I start following it on my phone a little bit live, so I can still see what's. I thought Elliott was hurt. I said, Jake Elliott must be hurt, and they just haven't told anybody yet. I swear to God, I thought he was hurt because he's not kicking field goals. He's not kicking extra points. Maybe he's hurt. I don't know. No, he wasn't hurt. Then he lets him drive 57-yard. This guy's. Well, I listen. I'm not there. I don't see Sirianni every day like they're right to beat right like I used to with Andy and Buddy and Richie whoever. Mm-hmm. But this guy does things that I've never seen done before. I don't get it.
Listen, the old cliche line, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting things to change. Well, he's doing the same things over and over. He's passing by points early in the game. He's going for 2 and then missing and then chasing the 2-pointer for the rest of the game. Some people were saying he left 9 points on the table. I thought he left 6 points on the table. The 3 extra points he should have kicked, and, of course, the field goal that he passed by.
Well, 2 field goals he passed up.
I don't remember the second one. I know he passed one.
They went for it twice on 4th down.
Okay. So there's your 9 points. But I got to tell you that if you look at the stats on this game, Mark, it's unbelievable that this was a one-possession game. In first downs, the Eagles had them 21-14. In net yardage, we had them 447 to 215. Net rush 237 to 60. And net pass 210 to 155. and we beat him in the turnover game 3-1. Now you tell me how this could be a 5-point game. I mean,
because you give away 9 points. That's how.
But it won't. Listen, you and I aren't analytics guys. I respect the math portion of it, but there's a time and a place in football. Now, do you think that he's getting bad information from upstairs? Do you think he's getting the information and discounting the information? Because it's happening week after week after week. If they had lost this game, that would have been one of the most egregious giveaways of any sporting event I've ever seen. And I've already used that term twice today, which is unusual, but there's no way that you can continue to make these kind of errors in judgment and not feel the repercussions for it. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see the press conference after the game yesterday. I'm going to watch it today when he addresses the media at 3:30. But I don't know, man. I just think it's so frustrating. Man, my phone's blowing up. During the game as well. What is he? My daughters who are casual football fans, Dad, what is he doing?
They know.
I don't know. I don't know what.
I don't know. Listen, I've said this before when we talk about something. Listen. I like aggressive football. Any sport. I like aggressive.
Of course.
Baseball. I like aggressive.
You got to be smart.
Hockey.
You got to be smart.
Smart about it. When you're up, listen. When you're losing, yeah, that's when you pull things out of your hat.
Absolutely.
But when you're up 22-0, just make it 23-0.
How about when he's up 16-0 and he goes for 2 instead of making it a 3-score game? I mean, I don't know. Again.
But didn't they make the extra point and there was a penalty on Jacksonville, so they got to move it? And
they did. They did. They took the point off the board. Yeah, they took
the penalty on the kickoff.
Listen. So I mentioned the movie, The Good, Bad, and the Ugly. So here's what I thought was good yesterday. And there's a lot of good. There's a lot of good, and there's some great, too. Starting out the game, Sidney Brown causes a forced fumble on the first punt. That was a great play by him to chase down that punt returner, and a big hit dislodged the football and puts the Eagles right in scoring position early. I thought that was a really good play.
For the first quarter.
Right. Yeah, first possession. Right. Yeah, and we scored in the first quarter, so we don't have to say that anymore. Exactly. Jalen Hurts, I thought, was very good yesterday. 18 for 24, 230 yards, and 2 touchdowns. From what you saw, no interceptions again for the third or fourth week in a row. What were your comments on Jalen's play yesterday? I thought he was rock solid.
Yes, he's gotten better since that when everybody was getting down on him and who's this and that. He's been pretty good through this 4-game winning streak. It's 4, right? Yeah, 4-game winning streak.
Right.
He's been the Jalen Hurts of the Super Bowl year, in my opinion. He's not turning the ball over. He's playing with it himself. He's not running quite as much, but that's okay. That's fine. You got Barkley.
Does he look to you like he's getting more comfortable with Kellen Moore's play calling? Does it look like he's more comfortable in the offense? Because the entire offense, even though they're missing, a couple offensive linemen, they really look like they're starting to gel. And I like the fact that they're running the ball so much more.
Well, I was just going to say, I don't know if I guess he's more comfortable with, is it Kellen? I don't even know who runs the, I don't know. They change that every play, I think. But he's comfortable with Saquon Barkley. Is what he's comfortable with. That having a guy like Barkley takes a lot of pressure off. I mean, Hurts. Let's be honest. Hurts was the offense a lot of times. I mean, they had Swift was okay, and they have guys, but he was running the ball as much as any running back was in some games.
Yeah, too much actually.
Exactly. I think he was being counter. It reminded me of way back in the day when Randall Cunningham was the Eagles quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Randall did everything. He ran for 80 yards. He threw for 300 yards. He punted.
Weren't most of Randall's runs broken plays? They didn't game plan a lot of runs for him, did they? I don't really remember that far back.
There were some. I mean, when it was like 3rd and 2, sometimes that would be a designed run to pick up the first down. But yeah, a lot of Randall. If you remember, that offensive lineman was the Eagles. That was the biggest weakness of the team.
Mm-hmm.
Was their offensive line. So Randall ran out of necessity a lot of times. He got chased.
Who was it? Was it David Alexander, the center back?
That was later on. That's when they got better.
Well, who followed up Guy Morris after center?
Fury at first.
Oh, Fury. Okay.
And then who was after Fury? There was somebody in between Fury and Alexander. I forget who it was.
Mm-hmm.
That's the fact I forget tells you all you need to know.
Tells you how
And
long
they went out
ago.
and got Dave Rimington, who was pretty good. He was near the end, but he was still pretty good.
Well, he was a beast in college. Remember him
Oh,
at
he was a great
Nebraska?
college,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh. And then the Kobe Dean, I thought his adjustment to the ball in that late pick, which was a terrible decision by Trevor Lawrence,
Oh,
by the way. That happened
he's
on
a turnover
first down.
machine. That's the
What?
thing.
Listen, this might be the end of Doug Peterson. It might be the last time you ever see him be a head coach at the Link or anywhere else. They're 2-7, and they lost to the Patriots this year.
Five losses by one score or less.
Yeah, but
I know.
this was a one-score game too, and it shouldn't have been. I mean,
Well, he could have
Jacksonville.
won though. Imagine if Doug wins that game.
Yeah, well,
I'm just saying.
that would have been divine intervention, similar
Well, no,
to
this would have been a good pass if Lawrence throws a better ball there or throws it away. It was first down.
first down. Yeah, there's no need to force it. I get you. I know you're one-on-one with the running back against the linebacker, but the other guy can catch too. I mean, I don't know what he's thinking about, but
I'm not a big Trevor Lawrence.
No, not anymore. I mean,
People
out of
love him
college,
down
I
here.
thought he was Joe Burrow number
Yeah, he's
two.
not
I
Joe
mean,
Burrow.
he's
He's not Joe Burrow.
pretty good. Let's talk about great now. Let's talk about Zach Bond. 10 tackles and an interception. He started the game. He was all over the field. Where did this guy come from? How did the Eagles get an athletic linebacker like Zach Bond? He's fun to watch. It probably was an accident.
Yeah.
He did. He dipped a toe in the
they-
free agent pool. We got lucky, right?
Yeah, I don't think this wasn't like a big signing. This wasn't like the guy they spent.
No, it wasn't
he was a
headlines.
pretty good player at Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they looked at him. To be honest, I mean, they're going to tell you, "Oh yeah, we knew what we saw," but no, they didn't. I think they wanted him to be like a special teams guy and maybe play a little bit. And then he had he's been good since they got here. He had a good camp.
Really good.
He wasn't supposed to start. They gave the guy who I can't think of his name, White, right? They gave him
yeah.
He was
White,
supposed to be their linebacker. Him and Dean were supposed to be a starting linebacker.
Who got picked up by Houston, by the way?
I saw that. Yeah.
Hey, by the way, excuse me if I sound hoarse or I got this all-time autumn nasal drip allergy thing going on. I know Joe in the studio is struggling with that, so we're going to fight through this thing today. Let's talk about Saquon Barkley. Another outstanding performance, 27 carries, 159 yards, 1 touchdown reception. Talk a little bit about Saquon, and then we're going to talk about the play.
Well, I said earlier, Barkley makes this offense he's the kind of guy, he's making everybody better, including Hurts. I think Hurts having Barkley takes a lot off him. He doesn't have to be he can play quarterback. He doesn't have to be the entire offense. But I mean, listen, Barkley, he was the number 2 pick in the draft for a reason. I mean, the running backs didn't go that high, and he did, and it was questionable that should they have taken a running back that high. But his biggest problem with the Giants was staying healthy. He had some injuries with the Giants.
A major knee injury very early in his career.
He missed some time, and then he also the Giants' offensive line was not good. Talk about bad offensive line.
Still isn't.
Right. But he managed to look good behind that line. So you knew coming here with the line the Eagles have, even though it's not the same as it's been, it's still pretty good, that he was going to put up numbers. I'm not a fantasy football player, never have been, but if I was, I think I would have taken Saquon Barkley pretty early in my football draft.
So let's talk about the most athletic play I've ever seen in sports. He catches a swing pass out of the backfield from Jalen Hurts. He plants his foot and makes one guy miss. He does a pirouette and makes a second guy miss. And then he turns his back to the oncoming tackler, jumps up with his back facing the goal line and jumps over the would-be tackler. I have never, and I don't even know how a lot of times plays are reactions. You see somebody coming, your body reacts. There's no set plan or anything. I don't know how you make your body do that. It was a jaw-dropping play to me. And
you never did nothing like that?
No. Well, that's because I'm not the athlete that Saquon Barkley is. But I will tell you that I missed the play initially. My daughter, Ashley, who was watching the game with us start screaming, "Dad, you got to run this back. You got to see it." And I ran it back, and I was just my mouth was wide open. That was really a fun thing to watch.
Yeah, I don't, like you said, I've seen a lot of football and a lot of over the years, and yeah,
that's gonna be a Philly special moment, right? It's gonna be everybody's gonna talk about that play.
Well, another play
for
it
years.
reminded me more of that Philly special was out of nowhere. I mean, that was just goofy, like not goofy, but it was a trick play. It
was kind of goofy. It was kind of.
This was athletic. This was Randall. I'm going to bring Randall up again. How about that? Randall against the Giants on Monday night.
Yeah, I was at that game.
Remember that play?
I was at that game.
Carl Banks.
That was unbelievable. Right.
That reminded me more of that. Yeah. That was just pure athleticism.
Yeah.
That wasn't.
How he was able to maintain his balance, put his hand on the ground, stand up, and throw a strike.
Throw a touchdown.
You're right. Those plays are 1 and 1A. I'm glad you brought that up. It was so long ago, I forgot about that. And then the other great play I want to talk about is Devontae Smith's touchdown catch in the fourth quarter. Catches it one-handed, and when he caught it, I said, well, there's no way he got 2 feet in bounds. It's just impossible. And he did. He got his shin in bounds. He tapped the other toe. What kind of hand-eye coordination does this young man have? I mean, that was another spectacular Hall of Fame type play.
Yeah, I'm a big Devontae Smith fan. I do. He just makes. I mean, he had that bad game a couple of weeks ago, but they won anyway.
Yeah.
Since then, he's been. I mean, it's tough. It's tough. There's only one ball.
Exactly.
Right?
You say he had a bad game, right? They threw to him once for -2 yards.
You
can't throw yourself. You can't throw yourself.
Yeah, he didn't have a productive day. I shouldn't say bad. He didn't do anything wrong. He just didn't get the ball. I mean that's why this team is the offense is so. I mean that's
a lot of weapons. Although they lost A.J. Brown in the second half yesterday. Yeah, they don't know yet. It's a knee. Yeah, they don't know, but. Let's hope that he can come back quickly.
I mean, but Barkley, Smith, Brown, and when Goddard's healthy and Hurts, they
missing Slay yesterday. Goddard is out. Of course, Mulata still on injured reserve. So the Eagles they're fighting a good fight without a lot of key players. But now
that's why you want to get if you didn't watch the games and you didn't even read about them or all you did was see if you're living in Des Moines, Iowa, right, and you just see the scores of every game and you see how the Eagles won again. Hey, this Sirianni must be pretty good. He's three guys out. He won again. He's 7-6-2. This guy, he's doing a good job, right? That's what you would think.
Yes, you would if you were looking from the outside
and the stat sheet.
Yes,
you give them here's the stat sheet of every game in the league, and you look at them. Hey, this Eagle team, this Sirianni, he's. But I'll let you finish.
Well, what was the old Mike Schmidt line back in the Phillies days? Is the Phillies the only city who
the thrill of victory and the agony of reading?
I had to read about it the next day, right? Which was, but in that case, I thought Schmidt was being a little overzealous with the comments. In this case. It's exactly true. You win a football game, and now you got to defend yourself to the media for all these plays. For example, again, he passes points up early. I don't know if it's a macho thing. I don't understand it. It goes against every great coach, Shula, Belichick, all these guys did it one way. Sirianni is going to rewrite the book on coaching, apparently. All right. He goes for 2, and he misses it. And now he's chasing those points, and he goes for it 3 times and misses on all of them. And then Jacksonville actually did a pretty good job against the tush push, probably better than anybody I've seen. But they had a 4th yardage play, which was I think less than a yard, and they run a fake tush push there to try to fool people. You don't win games by fooling people. You win games by out executing your opponent. And this guy. He looks like he wants to be a master chess player, and he's not. He's just not. Even to the casual fan, they're texting me, they're calling me. What is he doing? I don't know, but he keeps doing it. And I think if he loses 1 or 2 of these games,
he lost Atlanta by doing stupid.
Yeah, but his job is going to be in jeopardy, and rightfully so. You can't give away games in the National Football. You just can't. They're too precious. So. I don't know.
Here's my theory. I could be wrong, but because he's not involved as he was, right? I mean, he's not involved in defense. Vic runs the defense, right?
Right.
He calls the defense.
Well, supposedly he's sitting in on both
Yeah, he
defensive
sits
and
in the meetings.
offensive
He
meetings.
bounces around. He does all that, but he's not a. Most head coaches, everyone I've dealt with. Now I know that the game's changing, and he's not alone. Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh is like that. All right,
Right.
Harbaugh in Baltimore doesn't call plays on it.
No, they're game managers
Right.
now. They're not
Okay.
they're
So
not
that's
play
going more
callers. They're
that way.
game managers.
But I mean, the guys I covered, Andy Reid called the offense. He
Yes.
still does.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whoever, whatever. So, but my point is, because he's not involved, he's not running the offense anymore. Supposedly, Kellen Moore, he's not running the defense. He feels he has to do something. I'm sure.
Even if it's
I'm
dumb.
Be the guy,
even if
I'm
it's dumb.
The guy that goes for two. I'm going to be the guy that goes. I'm going to be. This is what I do. Well, he ain't doing it well.
Don't you think, Mark, if you're Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman, that you have to bring him in the office and go, dude, what, seriously? No, really. I mean,
No,
I'm not.
right.
I'm all for letting management manage and coaches coach, but there comes a point when it's so ridiculous and the same mistakes keep happening over and over. You got to bring him and say, Nick, what are you doing? Let's play by the playbook here a little bit. We got a great team. Let's not mess it up. I would assume that meeting has happened or is going to happen soon, maybe even this morning. I don't know. But,
well, they brought him in. Obviously, they brought him in after the Cleveland game, right? When he was yelling at the fans and stuff.
Yes.
That apology didn't come out of the air.
No, that looked like what didn't you say? It looked like a hostage video. So he reluctantly.
They brought him in on that one. So yeah, I think somebody. Yeah, here's the thing too. Now you played, right? So players know what you're supposed to do too, right? There's players talking today, just like you and I are talking, saying, man, what was he thinking about?
Yes. Well, you do.
Players talk among themselves. They most of them know what's right and wrong.
My professional career, I played for Dick Vermeil and Jim Moore, who were really by the book, or really good coaches. We didn't have a guy that was an outlier that was playing Maverick and Top Gun, trying to shoot everybody. I just didn't have to deal with that. Normally, as a player, you trust in your head coach because he's the boss. And he's doing what he feels is in the best interest of the team. But these Sirianni decisions are so strange, and they keep happening, over and over. It's becoming an issue. Let's look at the Eagles' schedule coming up. Now we're catching Dallas. We're catching Dallas at a great time, Mark. They're in free fall right now, and it looks like Dak Prescott might be out of the game. He had a hamstring yesterday, couldn't finish. Even though it's at Dallas, I don't know how Dallas can recover in time. It's a conference game on the road. There's fear there, but the Eagles going in they've got it all over the Cowboys right now.
Yeah, they should win that game. They're a 6-point favorite on the road, which is
I haven't seen the opening lines yet. But.
Yeah, they're a 6-point favorite, and the Eagles have not played well in Dallas the last few years.
Yeah,
they've lost in Dallas, but. Like you said, Dallas is a mess right now. They're just not the Cowboys that they're playing like it's the playoff. They're playing like playoff Cowboys instead of regular season Cowboys.
Right.
They just fall apart.
Their offense is really inconsistent, and their defense can't stop the run. So.
They can't stop. Barkley could run for 250 yards next week. I mean,
I agree. I agree.
I mean, he could if that's what the Eagles want to do, and especially if AJ Brown is out. Yeah, just run Barkley all day. They're not going to stop them.
And then we have Washington.
Now it gets interesting.
Washington is really, really impressive. Dan Quinn's got that squad rolling. Their defense looks great, and Jaden Daniels is quite an athletic quarterback. They're way better than I thought they would be this year.
Yeah, that's going to be a Thursday night. That's going to be a fun Thursday night game.
And then they're at the Rams and at the Ravens.
Rams are hot.
Two tough games. The Rams are getting healthy.
Yeah, the Rams.
And they're starting to heat up. And, of course, the Ravens are the Ravens. So
they're both on the road, correct?
They are. They're both on the road. Then we have Carolina and Pittsburgh at home, and then we're at Washington, and we finish with Dallas and the Giants at home. So
nice little ending there. But the next month, and I said this when they were 2-2. Remember, I told you, I said they have no reason not to go 6-2.
Mm-hmm.
They are. And although they made it a little harder than I thought. With the Cleveland game was a little harder, and this one was a little harder. I mean, it really wasn't. This one wasn't hard. They made it hard.
They did make it hard.
So they're 6-2, which you can't argue with 6-2.
Nope.
I mean,
love it. Take it.
And then, like I said, Dallas looks like a much easier game, but you never know. You're going to Dallas. Crazy things have happened.
Well, also they're in desperation mode. I mean, they're going to throw everything they got at the Eagles. I mean,
and Cooper Rush isn't a bad backup.
No, he's a decent player.
Okay,
actually, if you remember when Dak got hurt last year, he won a couple games, and they were
like 5-1, I think.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
He's not. It's not like they're putting in some kid never played before. I still think they win that game, but then after that, Washington, Baltimore, and the Rams. Washington, Rams, Baltimore. That's when we'll find out just how good this team is.
Then they get a breather at home with Carolina, but then they have Pittsburgh at home. It's a very good team, and then they're at Washington. So, you got to keep the pedal to the metal here. A little breaking news, Mark, in the final moments here. Dennis Allen from the Saints got fired this morning.
No surprise there.
Who do you think's the next coach on the hot seat? It might be Matt Eberflusse with the Bears.
Could be Eberflusse. I mean, I don't think it happens during the season. But I think Brian Dable and Mike McCarthy are both in trouble.
Yeah. What about Doug? You think he makes it through the year?
You and I talk about that. I think he deserves another year.
Mm-hmm.
Will he get it? I don't know. It depends.
I don't think so. I think unless there's a drastic turnaround, I don't.
I think they're going to make him change. I think the same thing could happen. What happened in here, where they go to him and say, "Hey, you got to fire your coordinator."
Well, he's been reluctant to do that. It's cost him a job in the past, and it's the same guy, Press Taylor, right?
Yeah,
the same guy.
Defense it isn't. So
yeah,
that's their problem. Jacksonville their defense isn't very good.
Well, I think part of their problem is that their highly rated quarterback makes some really boneheaded decisions that
yes, he does.
I don't know how much of coaching that is, But anyway, we are going to be back next week and taking a look at the Dallas game. Hopefully the Eagles can continue their role, and we'll have some good news to talk about. Maybe not be so critical of the head coach if he does what he's supposed to do. Nick, do what you're supposed to do so we don't have to talk about you.
Maybe he'll kick an extra point. That'd
be wonderful, wouldn't it? Earthshatter. Hey, I'll text you. If he kicks an extra point, I'll text you. I'll give you an update. It'll be breaking
news. You know why people were mad, too? We could say this now because it's legal. Well, what? They didn't cover.
Oh, yeah, I know.
They didn't cover yesterday, and they should have covered easily.
So
that's why people were saying, "Oh, the Eagle fans are mad because they won and they're still mad." Yeah, because they lost money. That should have been an easy cover. The line was 7.5. Depends where you got it.
Always presents itself for
You're
sure.
You're up 22-0. You're supposed to win that game. You're counting your money.
Funny story. All right, Mark, we'll do it again next week. Hey, for Ken Dunek and Mark Eckel, thanks for watching the Bird Brains with Ken and Mark, everybody, and we'll see you next week. Take care.